Eddie Brock was seemingly killed, but what actually happened is he was thrown into the future where he met 5 different versions of himself at different points within his timeline. It is now up to Eddie Brock to find a way to travel through the timeline and learn how to control his current state of mind so that he can prevent the death of his son Dylan. This is Venom, issues 17 and 18. Eddie tumbles downward, or upwards, depending on your perspective. He has been launched into Limbo. After helping and being betrayed by the likes of Madeline Pryor and Meredith, he now slams into the ground, his memories lost. What emerges is known as Bedlam, all of Eddie's bottled rage made by symbiotes in his own mental state. Bedlam roars in anger, anger that he doesn't even remember now. And the creatures of Limbo respond. Techno-demons, one of the creatures of Limbo. "What a monster! His life glow will last us weeks!" One of them laughs in triumph. The creature reaches out for Bedlam, but the monster grabs him by the arm, smashing him into a nearby rock. And he smiles maliciously, looking at the other demons. "Who's next?" The monsters just laugh. "Ha! The lunk doesn't even know what he just did! All it takes is a touch to transmit the transmode virus." The demons laugh. Bedlam looks at his hands in shock as the virus begins to take over his body, transforming his skin into wires and circuits. But Bedlam is Eddie Brock, the King in Black, the Lord of the Symbiotes, and the King in Black does not fall. He roars in anger, and by sheer force of will, the technovirus is purged out of his body. The demons stare in shock, not sure how this just happened. One of them turns to fly away, leaving his buddy behind as Bedlam reaches out, pulling him in close. "Tasty!" Bedlam growls as he bites into the demon's head, throwing it away. He turns as a voice calls to him from above. "Dear Lord, what are you?" Darkoth, the death demon, ruler of Limbo, states. The mighty ruler lifts his soul sword as Bedlam steps forward, the rage-filled symbiote suddenly rushing at him. "Crack your skull! Eat your brains!" he bellows, but this is Limbo and reality can split depending on fate's hand in the outcome. In one reality, Darkoth raises his soul sword, but Bedlam fires a strand of symbiote, pulling the sword from the ruler's hands. "Where's your sword now, little man?" Bedlam asks as he takes the blade, snapping it in half. He then rushes forward, stabbing the ruler in his head. "Stupid grape man!" Bedlam yells as he rips Darkoth's head out of his body, dropping it to the ground when suddenly a portal opens up behind him. Bedlam turns to see his past selves from the Garden of Time. Anger fills Bedlam as he leaps through the portal, preparing to punch his past selves and start the cycle that leads him to Limbo all over again. Darkoth plunges his blade into the monster's chest. The symbiote explodes, leaving nothing but a smoking skeleton in its place. The symbiote goo splashes everywhere, covering Darkoth and beginning to possess him. Darkoth whirls, leaping through a strange portal that opens up. Who's to say which of these outcomes is predestined? A hand explodes in the black sea of symbiotes, and Eddie Brock pulls himself to the surface, a voice speaking out to him. "Eddie Brock, you walk the path of the magician," it says, and Eddie looks into the darkness, the memory of his name returning to him. "I barely remember. To get here, so much was taken from me," Eddie says as the light appears in the darkness. The voice speaks again, explaining that this is the way of the magician's journey. That it is the sacrifice of the ego. That magic comes in too many forms. One is white magic and one remakes the world from a place above. The other is black magic, which works in the world knowing suffering. Leaving hands black with blood, heavy with venom, the voice says. Eddie looks up as a black hand appears before him, its finger burning as if it's a candle. Eddie looks up at the symbiote hand as it continues to speak to him, explaining that he is in the unbeyond. The true home of the King in Black. But this is not a throne room, Eddie. It is an engine room. It's where we do the work, the hand says, and the room lights up to reveal to Eddie a vast machine powered by an explosive engine. The room darkens once more as the hand continues to speak. "So tell me the work that needs doing. Tell me what road led you here. Ask me your questions." The memory appears once more in Eddie's mind, and he asks about his son. "Interesting. Your thoughts immediately turn to Dylan," the hand notes. The hand revealing that Dylan is safe, that he is growing stronger as he is bonded with Venom and is currently fighting against Norman Osborn. Eddie asks his second question. "Meredith, He's why I'm here. What do I need to do to stop him? Don't waste this. You've known the answer all along. The hand states, and Eddie nods, his mind clearing as he realizes the truth. I need my mother and my son. I need Venom. He says quietly, and Eddie's mind continues to clear as he explains how he would become Meritus in the future. When he became the King in Black, he tried to turn the symbiotes into his army, to use them to protect the galaxy and make up for what Null did. This thought is what led Eddie to becoming Meritus. That he destroyed every Clintar's mind so that they could serve him better. Was that really some madness taking over, or was it just the logical end of the path I started us on? Eddie says softly, looking at his hands and asking another question. What is the King in Black for? The hand reveals that the King in Black is merely another side of the magician. That the Beyonders are the King in White, ruling from above and altering the world as they see fit. The King in Black is the opposite, bound by the world. Working not through the clean, precise energies of concordance, but through organic matter, the wet, messy goo, working with the universe in symbiosis. The hand says, and the hand points to Eddie, explaining that it is work to keep the plane of existence on track. Or give up and embrace the eternal end. Like Null, Eddie whispers, the hand explaining that Null has given up and wished for nothing but the darkness to overtake the universe. That he was given the same choice as Eddie. Eddie rages against the hand, stating that it isn't fair, that he shouldn't be asked to do this, that he isn't capable of this. Null said the same thing. Should have been Spider-Man, Eddie whispers, the hand continuing to point at him. Spider-Man was born for this role, but life happened and he's not here. And you are. So Eddie asks his fourth question. Who are you? He asks the hand, and eyes appear behind the hand, the eyes of Venom. I'm you, Eddie Brock, but I'm so much more than that. Call me the eventuality. The hand states, and it reveals that the timeline of the King in Black is complicated. That when Eddie took the throne and its power, he became unstuck in time. His path began to fork again and again. You will travel back and forth, hither and yon, restless, rootless, into the forgotten past and the possible futures. You'll lose power, you'll regain it, you'll lose it again. That will happen, and it won't. Already did and already didn't. The hand explains, telling Eddie that it can see all the paths, and every single one of them leads to me. When your work in the world is finally done, you will come here to supervise. What causes you? Eddie asks in bewilderment. He understands that he'll eventually become this, but doesn't understand what he is now. That his body is gone and he is made up of the remnants of symbiotes, but he feels real. He points at his destroyed eye, pointing out that he can feel pain. He suddenly screams, clutching the wound. You've got the power in you to save your son, to save your other, maybe save everything that is if you just let yourself see it, the hand states, and Eddie stands back up, his eye having regrown. Eddie finally sees it. I have to fix what's broken. I have to fix myself. So I'm going in, and I'm gonna kick my own ass! Venom snarls as he turns away from the hand, the Venom symbol appearing on his chest. The story of Venom rising to power is definitely not over. This story is to be continued.